Guys, this is Dr. Kush, and I'm in the house just bringing you a subject I think that needs to be talked about, which is kind of the norm now. So I'm just gonna get into it with you guys and just ask you, how normal is it that you have to talk to your parents about pot? Now, I am a millennial myself. So it's kind of awkward, but it is the new norm out here. Because it is kind of a touchy subject of how the younger generation is now teaching the older generations that weed, pot, the grass, whatever they used to call it back in their days, is perfectly fine and is now accepted everywhere. So it's kind of becoming the actual norm. Nowadays you actually literally have to sit down and explain to your parents the difference between topicals, tinctures, basically, how strong weed has become, and as well how safe it is, because it's just the new alcohol basically. So since it's the new alcohol, it become more accepted everywhere. Older people, they understand, but they don't. So it is our job to kind of teach them that this is the new generation's basically alcohol, and it is more accepted than actually drinking nowadays. Because when they come from the prohibition era, when alcohol was kind of legal, and then how it went through all of the crazy history just like weed, but the difference is people still consume alcohol. But nonetheless, again, the topic is how normal it is that we have to explain to our parents that weed is perfectly fine and acceptable. Now, it is legal in most states, so I will be going over which states it is legal, recreational, and then medical use, and I will show you how much it costs within your local area to get an actual medical card. So the older generations are going to start helping the younger generation that is trying to normalize this. They're going to help us get in the right direction, because they are the ones who kind of messed it up, and now they're seeing that it's real benefits and not just psychoactive ingredients to get you all blazed out and doped out, but it actually healed with everything from PTSD, from cancer, appetite disorders, everything, as far as, and it just goes on. We are ourselves are actually made of the cannabinoid system, so it's in our body. So when we smoke it, it's just natural, and people are starting to see the actual benefits and everything that is done. But it's still a lot more that it can do that we're unaware of. Not saying it hasn't been figured out already, because the U.S. government already owns a patent on freaking cannabis. So I would say it is on the older generations to kind of step in here and help us millennials try to move this still to the right path, and help us just normalize it. So it's to the point it is alcohol, because they the ones that messed it up. Overall, you got your hippies back in the days, the 60s and 70s and whatnot, but after certain other drugs came in, it was like we kind of got a bad reputation, and it was like, I don't know what they was thinking back then, as far as why it didn't become normal when it should have been, but it's the thing now. It's just puzzling. Then you think about it, it's still a lot of older people that want to accept it, because they scared. Like, the older generation is scared, and in the sense of they just don't know. And it's like, if you don't know something, then it's kind of hard to back it up or actually get behind it, I'm gonna say because it can be a little terrifying because they're used to it not being accepted in society. So when you look at the older generation and they see, people smoking grass, they see people smoking weed, they think it's not acceptable. They think it's not okay, and that's not the norm nowadays because weed is much more accepted than somebody having alcohol nowadays. I mean, I know people that rather smoke than drink, and that's all day. Just like myself, I mean, I drink, but that's like very occasionally because I smoke a lot of weed, like too much. I've been trying to slow down, but that's normal. Just like somebody who, or I would say someone who drinks, and how that's accepted or more acceptable within society, because the older generation is more inclined to be accepting to an alcoholic than to someone who smokes a little grass. And it's like, that's not fair, or that should be accepted, because it's like, like everybody gets lit. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's the older generation for not knowing anything about the benefits and what actual cannabis is doing today. So it's like, I don't feel like alcohol should be accepted in society because it just is madness compared to smoking something that actually grows and natural compared to making alcohol or how alcohol is made, because that's more mind altering and behavior altering than the effects of marijuana. And then the older generations think that's more acceptable because that's how they grew up or they was raised within the time frame from their generation. Now my generation, we're still young, but we're going in the right direction. And I would say it would be our job to help the older people understand that marijuana, cannabis is acceptable today, more so than what it was back then. So we really have to put together some type of educational material for the people who grow up thinking marijuana is not acceptable, because I can't even listen to a music station without hearing now pot commercials. And I literally mean, it's a freaking ad talking about buckle up, don't drive while you high. It's starting to become more normal to hear when you're listening to music stations, or you're now watching TV. You're seeing just like alcohol commercials, you're seeing pot commercials saying, hey, lock it up, make sure it's put up around the kids, and it's like, people are starting to become more aware how normal weed is and more accepted within this society now today. So I'm trying to figure out how we, your generation, understand that this is normal to us and is normal to the rest of society now, because everyone wants to join in. Even people that has never tried it, or we're more willingly now willing to try pot than to drink alcohol. So I'm just like, maybe I'll put together something showing, you know, the older generation how pot is acceptable more, and make them understand it's not just for what the government has lied to them about, which is reefer madness. Have you ever seen like those old ass fucking weed commercials? Like, it makes no sense. So it's just like they brainwashed a whole generation of people to think that it's not acceptable. And then now, 2019, going to 2020, is more than acceptable, is the new alcohol. But the most people that are trying to use cannabis is the older generations, because they starting to see that it's okay, that it actually does help. It actually heals. It actually is good for you. It helps regulate. It helps you sleep. It helps you eat. I mean, it helps you do everything better. It helps you heal better. And the older generations are starting to wake up and see that they have been lied to. And they are starting to see now. It's like most of these parents are going through their kids, and then the kids are actually telling their parents that it's okay, it's normal, it's like the thing, it's like the shit, it's like it's just like alcohol. It's like, you know, most people drink, you know, and when you microdose or you use pot, it is a more common thing. It doesn't do anything, it just helps for everything. So any problem, anything, older generations, they're seeing that it's okay. So I mean, we just have to educate them more and make them understand that smoking some pot, smoking a little grass is okay. That is just normal. And once we get to that point, then I would say a lot of these other states that are trying to jump into the actual market when it comes to the cannabis, not so much the younger generation, like my generation, like we've done a lot, but it's like we still need more support. And the best support we can get is from the older generations, because they're the ones that passed all of these crazy laws and voted them through and everything. And that's because they did not know. And now that they realize that it is okay and it's acceptable, I mean, it's there to say we need their help, because it's like without them, I don't think it's going to get any bigger than what it is, because they're the ones that need to wake up fully. Because a lot of the younger generations, you know, are into the holistic side of things when it comes to natural healing, natural caring, about, you know, self-medication, you know, finding alternative remedies compared to just going to like any store, Walgreens, Walmart, and, you know, getting something over the counter. People are looking for alternative ways to heal themselves. However, you know, it could be a simple migraine, you know, then as far as there's a lot of stuff. It comes to, you know, like eating disorders, when it comes to a lot of things. And people are just looking for different ways to medicate besides taking medication that makes the problem 10 times worse than what it is. So I mean, that's why I think a lot of people are choosing to actually smoke the actual herb. They see it's a medicine for everything. And it's like with this older generation, need to be healed the most because they've been lied to the most. Sad that the government lied to their asses. And I don't hate my government. I don't. But they have came up with some pretty ridiculous ass shit. So, I mean, but they trying to make it right. That's why they're passing all of these bills and trying to vote it through now. But it's still on us to keep it going how we got our momentum. And it's up for the younger generation to show the older generation that it's okay. Pot is perfectly fine. It's perfectly able to help you with a lot of shit. So, I mean, think about it. It's normal for you to sit down and explain. You smoke pot, that everyone else smokes weed, and then your parents sit and tell you that they're interested in smoking weed, so they want to come to you now and ask you about all of the different things that weed has to offer. So you sit and explain to them it's not what it was. It is everything you expect it is, and even better. It's now smoking a joint with your parents. Nothing wrong with that. Just like, having your first alcohol sip with your parent. And, a lot of people, are changing the way society looks at weed, how it's interacting with society. And a lot of it is, my generation, and I say the generation above it, I would say 25 all the way up to like 35. Talk to your parents and tell them, microdose. So it's like, don't tell them, to go all out because they wouldn't be able to handle it. It's not that dirt weed they were smoking back in the 70s. It's not Reggie. This is engineered, medicinal, with certain effects, certain reactions, whereas when you smoke and you consume it, ever you're consuming it, just make sure you tell your parents to microdose it. Especially edibles, make sure you tell them to microdose. Even when it comes to flower, I wouldn't get your parents hooked on smoking blunts. I would just keep it simple. Go back to the 70s, pull out the paper. I got some right here. Bam. Tops. Can't go wrong. That's like the original old school joint right there. That's all I smoke. I might occasionally switch it up, smoke a cone, but occasionally. But tops, even bugler, microdosing. That's the way to go. So, if you have to have the talk with your parents, or anyone in your family that's older and is unaware of using cannabis, the best thing you can tell them is to enjoy themselves and to microdose. So that's the norm, the talk you gotta have with your parents nowadays, or anybody from the older generations that don't understand. It's the new alcohol. That's the best way I can put it. It is the new alcohol. So I'm just like, I'm glad I don't have to have this talk with my parents. But for everybody, you do have to have this talk, and make your parents understand that it's the new normal. Just keep it simple with them. Let them know that microdosing is the way to go, and just be supportive of them. Because they grew up thinking that it was not okay, it's not acceptable. So just be patient with them and be like, show them the good stuff. At least that society accepts cannabis, even though it has its regulations and rules and everything. Just like everything else, just moderation. Be supportive of your parents, because everybody wants to smoke weed nowadays. So the more people who smoke weed, the better, in my opinion. We never done nothing to nobody. Especially if the older generation starts smoking weed and can stop giving up and just give up the bottle, give up the whiskey, I think society will be heading in a better direction, and a lot better direction, because it makes up for the time that they have gone without realizing it's okay. That everything about weed that they have learned is a lie, and it's actually medicine. It's actually good for everything. You cannot go wrong with it. We just mellow all day with it, unlike alcohol. But this is how messed up the older generation is. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. They're just saying like they don't know, and they're scared to give it a try. So when I say educate them, just don't be like a salesman and try to sell them something, because it's like it's not nothing to sell. It's more like it is what it is, and that is just been an alternative, holistic, and an alternative to drinking. So that's what it is. It's just an alternative to drinking. And a lot of people prefer to smoke a joint. I just, in smoking a joint, smoking any type of weed at all is under a lot of different categories now. What I mean by that is, it's like moms, they enjoy it. Like, they love to smoke weed. And because it's easier to deal with their kids, it's easier to stay on top of the duties they have to do. Just like, professional athletes smoke weed to relax, to heal, and regular people, for all kinds of things. I might grab you a transdermal, put it on, just rock that patch and just feel that THC. Or, you might get you some topicals, spray them on, feeling good. Relieve it, that CBD, relieve that pain in those joints. This medicine is doing on the holistic side of things for alternative healing. I think a lot of people are starting to see that. And that's why it's the fluctuation of normal it has become. Myself, I've been a long time smoker, so this is not new to me. Like I literally smoke crazy, so I can tell you a lot of stuff you wouldn't know or expect. Like I said, a lot of people think they want to know, but they really don't want to know because they're not fully in with understanding how deep the culture actually goes. This culture is way deep, man. It's a lot it actually can do for you, especially if you're smoking real weed, not all of this stuff that they're producing genetically, or that they're fucking mixing down with a lot of chemicals. But if you got some natural weed, it's grown organically. I mean, it works wonders. Absolutely wonders. And a lot of people are seeing that, so they'd rather give up all of the pills, especially the older generation. They just give up, all of their pills and whatnot, and they just want to smoke a joint. They want to just relax, smoke some weed. So, like I say, it's up to us to show them at this point that that's perfectly fine. Because a lot of these older generations, they are, still in the workforce, which is good, and it's up to us to show them that it's okay to come home after a long day of work still and to just smoke a joint. It's the normal thing. Just like, it's acceptable for, all types of people to smoke weed in this society nowadays. That you think about it from, like I said, from moms, dads, kids, 18 into 21. My generation, athletes, people from, all types of walks in life. So anything, from, singers, celebrities, like I said, regular people, business people, people within, the workforces, construction people, people who make food, everyone seems to enjoy today's smoking. So, but it's a lot of people within the older generation who want to try it, but again, they're scared, and it's like, we need to just show them that it's acceptable and it's okay, and that is just like having a drink, but except it's a joint. And that's what it is. Yeah, so you gotta make the older generations understand. You gotta make your parents understand that it's just normal. Just acceptable. It's okay. That's what it is. I don't know. But a lot in this culture is going to change. I'm just counting down the days, because day by day, as the cannabis industry grows stronger, everyone and everybody wants to go ahead and get in on it. And as the cannabis industry grows stronger and bigger, as it develops, they're trying to fix what they messed up from the beginning. They're seeing now how much revenue and how much bank that is bringing in within the legal side of the market. So a lot of these dispensaries are starting to become like just mega fast food restaurants, like I said, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to take over everywhere, and it's about to be only a select few dispensaries out here left, and then that's when they're going to start to unfold more within their plan. So just watch on that part, because it's an interesting topic. You look at it, because it's the older generation who has been lied to, and then is scared to right their wrong, as far as just accepting it, that is the new normal. And they want to, but then again, you know how a dog is, they stuck in their ways. Once, a dog get over, such and such age, this goes for people too. They're just comfortable doing what they're doing, and a lot of people, are not willing to change. Instead of, getting together, drinking bottles and bottles of alcohol, get together with, like you smokers, with a few eights, maybe, a few, edibles, keep it, keep it elegant, and, microdose it, just sit back and enjoy, watch a movie, go out, go do something, because it's like, acceptable, and it's us to show them that it's more acceptable now. And doing that is to put the alcohol away and, start marijuana parties instead of the norm where everyone gets together for some food and alcohol. Get together for some pot and some food, and just tell me how that works a lot better than, drinking and eating, and then gotta go ahead and after drinking gotta drive home from the get together. Smoking a little pot, microdosing, of course. It's a lot safer. It's a lot more convenient. Yeah, alcohol can be a good thing, and it's a bad thing. So but with marijuana, it's all good. I haven't found out one thing wrong with it, except I'll talk about that later. But I really haven't found out one thing wrong with marijuana. Out of all my years of smoking it, it literally helps with everything. You gotta look at it. You gotta say, time to put down the alcohol and pick up some goddamn marijuana. Simple as that. And once you start to do that and show, okay, it's normal to bring marijuana to the party now, then it's okay. And you're showing that it's acceptable to do that than to drink. And if you do that, I think you're doing good of moving the culture forward, because it's like a lot of people are still hesitant because, again, they're scared and don't know. They've been lied to. So again, it's just up for us to normalize it when we are at a get together, or we are having get-togethers with your family. So it's for everybody, not for kids, but it's for everybody, and even for kids. I can't even say that it's for kids too. Because you look at it, CBD, helps with a lot of things for kids. So it's something the whole family can enjoy. But then again, like I said, you got a lot of people who is unaware of how normal weed has become. There's nothing wrong with that. People live under rocks. A lot of people live under rocks and not know what's going on. Because, they just self-inclined and they don't care. Or, they just don't care about what's going on except what they're doing. And that's fine, to be inclined to sell. So, again, it's up to you, if you're within this culture, to educate your people. Your people is your family. So, and just let them know that what's not accepted is now acceptable when you're speaking political correctness. Because marijuana is politically correct. Alcohol has now become what marijuana has been. And it's up for us to tell people that drinking alcohol is now not politically correct anymore, and smoking marijuana is politically correct. So you gotta think about it. I mean, people been on the wrong side for years on top of years within this culture. I mean, it's starting to get back on the right track. So I mean, just think about it. We say, stay tuned for some more crazy shit, and I mean crazy, and topics that need to be discussed. Because people really need to hear this, and it's like not enough marijuana education that can be given, because there's so much that people need and no one's speaking on it because they're trying to keep it like hush hush, and then they're trying to reveal the curtains. So it's just like, that ain't cool, because you and other people need someone that can bring it to you, as far as make you understand how politically correct marijuana is, and you know how normal it has become within our society, especially when dealing with everyone. Like, I can't even limit it to the older generations. Only thing I can limit them to is not knowing. But a lot of them, again, are starting to wake up and realize that they have been lied to, and then that is starting to become norm, because they're asking you, their kids now, to give them the dope, which is the good medicine, or they asking you, like, you know, basically, you know, to be the black market dealer and deliver them the goods, because they want them. Trust and believe, they want them. That the parents want the goods, and it's starting to become normal, like too normal, where it's like you're now the black market dealer for your goddamn parents because they want the good, or you're doing it for someone, you know, older from, I should say, you're doing it now for someone older than what you expect, because they want to try it, or you know, they want to just enjoy it, or they actually are using it for the medicinal purposes, which is the older generation when you look at it, because they want to use it, you know, they want to reminisce and figure out why it was bad when they see everybody else is enjoying it, having a good time with it. So it's what it is. So just, you know, make sure you tell them microdosing. Again, that's like the biggest number one, microdosing. And, you know, moderation, because it's like, you never consume too much cannabis, but you can't trip the fuck off cannabis, because of all of the toxic chemicals that people do put in cannabis nowadays, especially these companies. So you gotta look at it like that. So it's best to microdose, because you never know, you might get that one hit that makes you trip out. But other than that, I mean, it's all good. I mean, cannabis is like the best medicine today. In 2019, hands down, marijuana is the best holistic medicine you can consume, and you're able to apply it in more than one way. So, I mean, just explain that to the elderly generations as well, and you should be good, and letting them figure out, you know, how they're going to use it. Because again, there's more than one way you can use it, which is, you know, you can rub it on yourself. They got like bath bombs. They got basically for anything you can think of, for headaches, you know, like I said, for those joint pains or glaucoma. I mean, come on now, it helps with everything. I can't name that one part of the body, honestly, that weed will not help with. I mean, I just can't, because it's that damn good. It's just that good. Like, weed is like the best medicine, hands down, on top of anything. think of. So, Dr. Kush, I just wanted to bring it to you. I know there's more to be discussed with this subject. I'm just all over the place. I know. Because it's just so much in my head that I can just sit and talk to you about when it comes to this culture, and bring it to you and make you think like, damn, like, is that fucking normal? Like, how everyone wants to try or smoke weed, and a lot of these people are your older generations, because the younger generation, they know, like, it's like kids, like teenagers, young adults, the millennials, the generation above us from, like I said, 25 to 30 to 35, to heck, even in the 40s, they realize, there's nothing wrong with it. So, like, they are inclined to consuming it already, but it's the generation above them, which is, I would say, from like the 45 to maybe to the 60s, even maybe older, 65, 70, because they still be kicking, like they be moving, like they really like still be moving at that age. And you're like, dang, they'll chill. And they are the ones who have been lied to. So just look at that, think about it. I'll get back to you with some more cool shit. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for another updated video on the newest vape pens on the market. I will do the legitimate side of things, and I will also do the black market side of things when it comes to that video. Still stay tuned for my other video to drop on legal price of weed within dispensaries. So stay tuned for that. We're going to bring it to you. We're going to break down, I would say, legal side and black market side of things. And we're going to go state by state. So, I mean, if you want me to do your state particularly, drop a comment, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. And just, stay tuned with me as I go over more and get into depth with a lot more things that no one is talking about or have audacity to speak of. So I'm going to bring it to you because I'm right here in America, in the middle of all of this action, because there's just so much action. It's like, I should be broadcasting 24/7, 365 on this. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys.